just to hear him express his gratitude, humility, and it's definitely, that's what it's all about. I mean, I think he's at the pinnacle. He's being recognized, and I thought it was. I really enjoyed the speech, and I was. Part of me was just trying to get out of this press. I was trying to get out of this press conference, but absolutely. I mean, yeah, I thought it was great.
Like Todd Archer, the ESPN, Malik Hooker signed the extension. What is it about him that made you guys want to keep him around longer?
I mean, Malik is, he came, you remember training camp when he was just, getting going and, coming off the injuries, and then, once he was able to get himself healthy, so consistent, very impactful, carries a lot of weight in the locker room. He's extremely respected by his teammates, and he's an incredible football player, right? I mean, you see the range that he has, his ball skills. We had a team event the other night, and I think people realize what a great basketball player he was, because there was a question, and there was a basketball hoop involved. They just grabbed it, put it right in. So he's an exceptional athlete that does a great job commanding the back end for us.
NBC 5 Now. Can you speak on what you need to see from Kelvin Joseph now that he's in year 3 for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Kelvin's, he's really put in the work, to expand his menu of responsibility. I like what he's been doing at nickel, and obviously special teams. He's still, one of our primary players there too. So just really the consistency of playing it, in and out of the defensive personnel groups that he's in, and he's definitely shown the ability to play inside and outside. So I think he's taking a really good step. This preseason will be big for him.
That's a non-answer.
Yeah.
You signed Donovan Wilson and certainly Malik, and now Diggs. You got 3 of the members of your secondary signed. How important is it to get those guys?
Well, I mean, I'm always about signing your own players. To me, that's the most important, component of free agency that exists. Because anytime as a coach, you really sell your players to buy into the program, buy into the process, and then the ability to have them for a second contract. I mean, that's what breeds the continuity, the consistency that we're all after. So I think it's great when we're able to sign our current players back to another contract.
Saunders from The Athletic. Mike C was talking about how there's going to be a greater emphasis on the deep ball. Is that more of a philosophical shift with you taking over play calling, adding Brandon Cooks? Is that personnel thing? How much of that is a little bit of both?
Well, I mean, we're just really trying to put that out in the media, because we're going to throw short all day. But no, I think it's like anything. You have start points in your offense. What you expectations of when you teach a progression of, how concepts fit together. So our starting point is off the vertical game. I mean, that's frankly the way I've always taught the passing game. So. And so with that, the ability to get those breaking points consistent, playing faster, but also if you look at the skill set of our perimeter players, it definitely fits them too. So it's just really it's a starting point of how we want to attack the coverage unit.
How would you assess your offensive line right now?
Actually, we won't
That's
cover
not
that.
good. That's not good.
Body language.
I'm in an install mindset. I'm not really. My focus is to make sure these guys are getting all the technique work, the fundamentals. Today's goal line, we'll put goal line in today. It'll be an 8-play goal line segment that'll be tied to the 9-on-7. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll say this: we're getting a lot of work of different combinations, which is it's been our path the last 3 years. So I do know that. So.
In 10 miles, keep left onto Pennsylvania Turnpike East.
We get down to the the roster, and so those are always a big part of those decisions. But really, our offensive lineman, as we've talked in here in recent days, is the furthest behind of any position in the NFL, just naturally because of the way this game is set up. But they're working. We got a little work to do, but I feel good about the progress that we made from our young guys from last year to this year.
Yeah.
he's done a lot of nice things. His athletic ability is exceptional, especially for a man. At 6'7", his ability to bend.
Grown-ass man.
He can't get enough padded work technique, and that's the norm for young offensive linemen in this league. So the third and fourth year is a very, very important year for your offensive lineman, and really any player, and that's definitely the case with our young guys.
Michael Gelman, Dallas Martinez, there seems to be less music during practice. Is that
why did you bring that up? What are you trying to do? You don't like it?
Trying to stir shit up. Trying to stir some shit up.
Tell me about that. I'm coming after you.
What's the design? Is it communication or otherwise?
No, not at all. To be honest, I'm all for music. I think there's a time for it, but we talk a lot about communication. The team periods. I've done music with team periods. I've done crowd noise with team periods. The crowd noise is annoying, but there's a level of communication that as coaches you want to see and hear. So when the verbal part of it is apparent, especially in install practices, I'm like, that's why you won't see me play a whole lot of music in the install, because it's a new game plan every day.
Put the work in.
I want to make sure if something needs to be corrected, let's correct it immediately. We also have the opportunity to correct it video, but once we get into the more just pure competitive practices and things like that, we'll add the crowd noise and so forth. Because today's our second red zone day, and it'll be our first goal line day. Monday will be our last third down, so we'll start getting into crowd noise and the different cadences and things like that. So there's a progression to all this. So, but that's the reason. I'm not a play the music all day guy. I think there's a lot to gain in these install practices on the field.
I agree with that. Focus in on the work. Play your music after practice.
Like you said that you're not concerned about Zach being there. Does it come a time where you'll get concerned about when it's not being there?
Yeah, like a week and a half ago.
Todd, really, it's
September 10th.
It's business. And business has different timelines.
September 10th, that's when you need to be.
There's different timelines that you don't have.
I just don't like that.
But I do know Zach.
I don't like how we're just holding the line on him, man. If you get him in, work it out. You get paid to work it out. Not saying throw all the money at him. Work it out.
But once again, he's involved in a business situation.
You mentioned Marcus Ware, obviously having a chance to coach against him. Chuck Howell's career obviously goes back a ways. I'm just curious your impressions of him and the impact that he made.
Well, I don't know much about Chuck. Obviously, I know, back in the day, I know really in the 70s is when when I started watching the Cowboys.
Chuck Howell, he lost the Super Bowl and got the MVP. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. It was, as a kid, he watched the Steelers at 1 o'clock, he watched the Cowboys at 4 o'clock. So, sorry I can't give you a play-by-play of Chuck's career, but like I said, that's when I started watching the Cowboys.
When he started,
okay. Brandon Cooks with his speed, CeeDee Lamb with his versatility. How much is that supplementary?
You can tell he's not doing this press conference. He's not giving you anything.
When you're putting together game plans, obviously, we're going through our concepts and getting them all taught and revved up, but getting into game plans and skill sets, and because we're not really attacking the defense. We're not trying to create formational matchups and things like that. But when you get to that part of the when you get to the game plan phase of it, that's definitely where that comes into play, and it's definitely is what you're looking for, because you want guys that have similar traits as far as their flexibility to play different positions, but obviously their skill sets when they're different. I think it really helps your game planning.
You talked about the more competitive practice. You're still in install phase. In the past, maybe before you got here, there were a lot of times the Cowboys had done some blue-white scrimmages, some scrimmages done before the first preseason game. You don't feel the need to do that stuff, especially if you're not competing against another team. You did those type of live scrimmages before the first preseason game.
Well, we did it. Did it the first year out there at the stadium. Without the numbers on the jersey, if I recall. But
I remember that.
Yeah, when you put together the training camp, obviously, we put everything in 8 installs, and then we got to shift gears and get ready for Jacksonville, on Wednesday next week. And then really the way we're doing it, and I think it's just a reflection on where we are, as far as the defense, and really we're at on offense. So when we get back from Jacksonville, we're going to take that Monday and Tuesday and just do as much competitive work as we can. But it's going to be more on things that we really feel like we need more of. So we'll do that as we go into Seattle, and then we get up to Seattle. We go back to Dallas, and that's a kind of a disjointed week because we have the night practices and things like that. So we'll start lending and peeking an eye towards the Giants, and then as far as what we're trying to get done, and then we'll get ready for for our last home game there in preseason.
All right.
Is that it? Thank you.
All right. So, Mike McCarthy,
Nothing.
11 minutes and 5 seconds and said nothing. Nothing. I was sitting here kind of drifting off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm drifting myself.
I hope not. All right, so I need to keep an eye on. Yeah, so I don't even know what can we do with that.
Well, it's just a
But
press
that actually sounded like it was before the scrimmage, though.
I don't know. It was just uploaded 6 minutes ago. So.
Okay. Yeah, Mike McCarthy talking about, Zach Martin, we'd like to get him here, and, he's a professional, and yada, yada, yada. And then he wanted to hear DeMarcus Ware. He's trying to hurry up and get this
Miles,
out the way.
keep left onto
And
Pennsylvania
yada, yada,
Turnpike
yada.
East.
Yeah. So you got, I don't even, bye.